Now, since the original solo is built out of all these mixolydian scales, making for some suspended sounds over each dominant chord, that's what we're going to focus on in terms of building up the solo. But at the beginning of the solo, to create a little room for all of that, we're going to pull it back and just do pentatonic for the first chorus. There's only 3 chords, just 1, 4, and 5. And we can still do something with the minor pentatonic that deals with the chords by targeting the root of each chord. So that if we play a basic A minor pentatonic lick like this, anything in that neighborhood, that's all resolving to this A note, which is the root of the A chord. When we get to the D, the same lick, or the same family of licks, can resolve to a D, which is the root of the 4 chord. And when we get to E, everything can resolve around the E, this note right here, which is the root of the 5 chord, or this E. And that's a way you can be playing just minor pentatonic, but still be getting into the very beginnings of playing the chord changes, because every lick you play is going to resolve to a root, the most important note of each chord that you're on. The next thing is to actually play out of these mixolydian sounds, which over the A means that instead of just playing the minor pentatonic, you're going to make sure you add in the major third, which is right between the flat third and the 4th. That note there. And then also add in the 6th, the major 6th, in between the 5th and the flat 7th. During the solo, the original single chorus solo, we're using that bend to play the 4th, and you can do that here or just play it straight on. Now when it comes to the D chord, you've got a couple of options. You can move up to the 10th fret and play the D mixolydian scale, which will match the D7 chord, or you can look for D mixolydian notes down in this position, which, again, if you're looking at it just from the point of view of starting off with A minor pentatonic and then laying the notes of D mixolydian on top, there are the notes of D mixolydian. You've got your root D, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And similarly, when you get to E, move that up. I always just sort of look at it as coming out of the chord shape. Here's my E7 and 5, flat 7 and root. Root 2 and 3. There's the 4th, 5, 6, 7. So you've got some chord tones and some scale tones. So you could play through using a different mixolydian scale for each chord. And finally, this suspended sound can also be arrived at doing this kind of, it's a little convoluted, but it makes sense once you've played it a few times and heard what it does. If you're on an A chord and you want to get the sound of an A sus, you can start by playing, going up 5 scale steps from the root. Start on that note, which is E, and play an E minor 7 chord, an E minor 7 arpeggio, and then resolve to the 3rd. What that does is it spells out an E minor 7 chord, or it's also the arpeggio that goes with an E Dorian scale. And then you can resolve it to the third of the A7. So it's just like playing the chord, an A sus chord, and resolving it. The same thing will work on D. Go up 5 steps, D to an A note, play an A minor 7 arpeggio or an A Dorian scale, and resolve it to the third of the D chord. And then on the E chord, go up 5 steps, play a Dorian scale off of that note, which is B, and minor 7 arpeggio or B Dorian scale, and that will resolve. So playing that sequence of a Dorian scale or arpeggio, a fifth up, and then resolving it will give you that sound. So for the extended solo, we'll start off just with root targeting, then move on to playing mixolydian scales, and then end up playing minor 7 arpeggios that resolve to the dominant chord that you're on. So we'll do, each chorus will sort of take it up another notch, and then maybe at the end do a chorus where anything goes, including maybe some open strings and going back to some pentatonic. So let's put all that together into an extended solo.